Okay, good evening. Welcome to the Town of Harwich Finance Committee meeting. It is Tuesday, March 25th, 2025. It is 6 p.m. I would just make note that we are recording this meeting, and anyone in the audience who intends to record this meeting as well, please check in with the chair if you intend to do so. And I'll just note we have no one in the audience, at least at this time. I will call the meeting to order. I'll note that with us here in the small meeting room in Town Hall is Dan Tworick, Mark Kelleher, Bob McCready, Mark Amores, Scott Norm, and Peter Hughes. And I think, Dana, are you there remotely?
Yes, I am here.
Okay, and Dana is participating remotely, so we have that crew here. We do have a quorum, and I so declare it. First items of business. I want to make sure we get the last couple sets of minutes because we had to skip one or two. The minutes of March 13th, which have been distributed to you. I have a motion to accept those minutes.
So moved.
There's a second?
Second.
All right, moved and seconded to accept the minutes of March 13th. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll put it to vote. Dan?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Dana?
Aye.
Chair is an aye. Okay, 7-0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-0, sorry. Next, we have the minutes of March 18th, which was last week's meeting. Could I have a motion to accept those?
So moved. Second.
Okay, moved and second to accept the minutes of March 18th. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll put it to a vote. Dan?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Dana?
Aye.
Chair is an aye, 6-0, thank you. Okay, next under new business is the FY26 budget discussion and possible votes and the warrant. Okay, so a couple pieces of information for you. I did participate in a motions meeting this afternoon, lasted about an hour. Town moderator was there, town administrator, chairman of the board of selectmen, CPC people, finance department, assistant town administrator, town council, two of them, and I think that was about it, but it might have been more. And the meeting basically focused on a couple of things. First and foremost, we were told at that meeting that the selectmen are asking for a 4% cost of living adjustment to go into the warrant. They were at 2% previously, you remember that?
Yes.
Okay, so I think that will be discussed further on Monday and they will clarify that, okay? The second is that our documentation, and this pertains mainly to Mark and Dana, needs to be in Megan's hands no later than 10 a.m. on Wednesday the 2nd. So that's next Wednesday at 10 a.m. Our votes and any of the comments need to be in the town administrator's office because they need to integrate that and then send the warrant out to be printed, okay? So that's clear. So you guys are going to have the ball on that. You can send around whatever you need to get comments or, whatever.
Just one thing, all I've worked on is the votes. I haven't strayed into comments, and I don't know if we plan to put them in this year or not, Dana, but we're up to date pretty much on the votes, but that's about it, so.
Okay.
All right.
I noticed that some of them did have comments.
Some from early on we did,
Is
yeah.
there any way you can print out what the ones that do have comments, and I can write up comments for the others?
I think the only comments we did were like the early ones, but I will go back and find out. It was like when the 1 through 4 or something like that, I copied and pasted from early on.
The customary ones.
Yeah.
A number of them you're going to be able to use last year's comments unless something has changed or you want to modify it.
Right, yeah, well, if I see I know I've seen most of the rack up on the budgets and so forth, if I can put that into the comments, that's generally what we do there. The CPC ones are all the same. I should be able to do something for us anyways.
Okay,
I'll have it to you and to Mark well before then.
okay.
Thanks, Dana.
All right, the next thing is, it's apparent to me, we're gonna have to meet after the selectmen meet again on Monday. Because they just gotta get through and finish this thing. So Mark has found out we can have this same room, same time next week. Can we get a quorum? Is everybody available? You available, Dan?
Tuesday?
Tuesday at
Yeah.
6, yeah?
Yep.
You
I'm
available?
available.
Yep.
And that would be Tuesday the 1st, April Fools, oh my God.
Yes, I should be available.
Okay.
Yeah, I should be available.
I'll send something out to Judy and get that posted.
Okay. You're gonna
Yeah,
send something?
yeah,
to me?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah. It'll be the same agenda as this one, except,
right.
okay. Just make it a
I'll
note.
be on the road and in a different time zone by then, but should be able to chime in.
Okay, good. I'm just making a note to send Judy a request for posting. Okay, so at this afternoon's meeting, let me just talk about the 204 situation, if you will. And let me back up. Last Friday, I had a sit-down session with the chairman of the board and went through a number of things, including 204, blah, 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 blah. The 204 discussion at the moment seems to be centered on the fact that, oh, we're so rushed, we can't really get this done, but we're committed to really tackling all the revolving accounts in the coming year and to get going soon. I reminded them and that whole audience that we had submitted a report in August, blah, 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 blah. The comment, quite frankly, came back, well, I've only been in the chair for like 3 or 4 weeks and I'm scrambling. So then the discussion came about with the moderator and the other parties there about what any amendments to the budget motion and other motions might look like, okay? And Michael went back and forth. When it was initially proposed that, okay, we have to adjust the budget to put in 204 for the operating expenses, right? Well, then it got complicated with the revolving fund account and having to, our proposal all along has been eliminate the existing revolving fund, transfer those funds over to the general fund, and then establish a new revolving account to cover just the operation, just the programs and activities associated with 204. The town clerk chimed in after much discussion, but reminded us all that when you set up a new revolving account, it has to go to the state and be approved. And the typical response time based on a May town meeting is like September. So if you change the revolving account, that means the programs and activities at 204 really can't happen until they get that done.
You can't just reduce the size of the revolving, the existing?
What?
You can't just reduce the size of the existing?
Well, okay, so that's fine. Bear with me. Bear with me. So there's a lot of discussion around that, okay? And by the way, the golf revolving fund is, it's in the warrant to get that changed, et cetera, et cetera. So then more discussion about, well, this is going to confuse everybody, blah, blah, blah. After I left the meeting, I sent the moderator an email and the chairman of the Board of Selectmen, and I said, look, I think as a compromise, or I'll just throw it out there, is you put in the budget, not amend it, but you do it now, put in the budget reasonable expenses for 204 as a building. Leave the existing account revolving fund alone and perhaps reduce that number to like $50,000. I haven't gotten a response back yet, so we will see. Okay, so we obviously have to do, the moderator controls the town meeting, quite frankly, and what's allowed or not allowed. So we're gonna have to wait and see what happens on that. again, I did have, whatever, for whatever it's worth, and I don't know what it's worth, the commitment of the chairman of the board that at least the 3 continuing members on the Board of Selectmen are committed to tackle that, now that it's been identified, tackle that whole revolving account situation in the next year, okay? Town administrator got a little bit on my case, or a little bit edgy about, it's not illegal what we're doing. I never said it was. We said it was not appropriate. Those are the words that DOR said to us. It's not appropriate. So you take that to mean whatever you want, right? So that's where that one stands. So we're not going to know till I hear something back from Michael Ford, probably. Okay? More to come. All right. We have a visitor. You want to tell us something, sir? You're just here for fun.
Just here to observe.
Okay, all right.
This is Charlie Grishka.
Yep, Charlie, welcome. I know you're interested in the schools. I think that this evening we will not be doing anything with the schools. As far as the budget goes, we're waiting for something from the Board of Selectmen. We don't know quite where they are in this one. Yeah.
They did place on the warrant the siding project. They placed it.
Middle school.
The middle school siding project.
To be funded from?
I don't know.
Is it a borrowing?
It is borrowing. I mean, it's to Harwich, it's 6-something million. The actual project is over 11 million. So they did place it on the ballot.
So it's in here. Let's find it, because I haven't.
I saw a huge, bunch of slides about it that was in the materials, the packet for last night's meeting.
So the new money is still the $9,007,030?
Yes,
I'm sorry, yeah, I see it, Article 9.
Okay. That's the new money.
that's the new money.
To go with the 2.5 or something, right? Or
Pardon me?
to go with the previous 2.5.
Go with the
2.5.
2.5, right,
Yeah.
Okay, to make it 11 something.
that's
Right.
correct.
Okay, so let's just talk about this for a second. So what it says in the warrant, Article 9, see the town to vote to approve the $9,007,030 debt authorized by the Monomoy Regional School District to pay additional costs of renovating and reconstructing the siding and windows of the Monomoy Regional Middle School, including all of the work incidental and related thereto, or take any other action relative thereto, and to act fully thereon, by request of the school committee, and that's the number. The explanation is the town of Harwich's obligation for this total borrowing is $6,918,300. That's 76.81%, based on a 3-year average of foundation enrollment. The town is seeking to exclude the debt service from Proposition 2.5 for the ballot question on this year's annual town election ballot. The regional school district is borrowing the amount, not the towns. And they claim in this, they have a companion ballot to go with this.
In Chatham, or, ballot for our ballot.
Well, for us, we had to vote it.
Right.
We had to make sure at the election it's got a ballot. Okay, Chatham does too. So the way this will work, if this gets approved at our town meeting, Chatham has to approve the same thing and at the ballot box, and then the project would get funded. Both towns have to approve, as far as I know. Okay.
But the vote is not for the apportionment of the costs. It's for the approval of the project, right?
Right.
Or is it all wrapped together?
Well, they're telling you what the apportion is.
That's just in the
But the
explanation.
apportion is not what people are voting on.
Right.
Because we'd vote 0, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
because I know that there was the idea that this might be negotiated with Chatham.
and maybe it will be, I don't know that. So.
Yes, the vote is authorizing them to borrow
Yeah,
the additional $9 million.
And by the way, if someone's actively negotiating or in talks about that formula, that could change between now and town meeting too. And if that's the case, then the numbers here would get modified during the town meeting. In other words, when a motion is made, assuming there's a positive motion, if there was a new number,
So that could be done right up to the night of the town meeting, right?
including town meeting,
Yeah,
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 okay.
yeah, that horse trading can happen,
Yeah,
whatever. The important thing is whether you're gonna have it as a topic. Well, it is gonna be a topic for town meeting because it's on the warrant, select and control the warrant. Yes, sir.
Chair, I would just point out, that $6 million figure is 76% of the 9 million. But Harwich, I think, would also be beholden to 76% of the 2.5 million that was approved, authorized last year by voting.
Exactly. Yeah,
So
this
it's
is
more
to add to that
total
2.5 million.
that will accrue will be-
It's like surprise we
What's the
found out.
number?
Huh? Go ahead, Dana.
Just a question for the gentleman, was the number in the, last year's vote still 76%? I thought it was lower than that, our percentage.
Last year, we were about 74 or 75%. So
Right.
still in the, and I don't, that's a good question. I don't know how that would apply.
Well, it says based on a 3-year average of foundation enrollment, so here we are another year, so I guess that
That's
number.
for this 9 million, we would still only be obligated for the 74% of the last 2 million. I think.
I think that's probably true. Okay,
And I believe that we were
Yeah.
told by the school representatives that the first year debt service is in the current regional budget for that
Yes.
borrowing.
Yes, there's $300,000 as a placeholder in the Monomoy budget for FY '26 as it stands at as of last night's.
for debt service, right?
For debt service.
If I remember right.
For the first year
Yeah,
payment, short-term debt.
yeah, yeah.
So if we don't approve it, we can take 300 out.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, the other part of it is, if this gets voted and it passes the ballot, it doesn't mean they have to run out day one and borrow the money. They gotta go out for bids, they're gonna do all kinds of, crap you gotta do, stuff you gotta do before it actually happens. And they may or may not get it done, started in the next year, I don't know.
An additional point that was made last night was that next year, they'll be coming for the roofing borrowing. And so they wanted to get this done, voted, and the work going separately rather than wait and do two of them next year, and therefore getting up to, I don't know, maybe $20 million or something. But the roof project was also estimated at $8 million, and I'm not sure if anybody remembers.
is that also middle school?
Yeah.
It's all the same building.
Yeah.
They do have the state is gonna pay, I think, 35 or 40% of it. So it does, the roof does come down to, the cost was, so it brings it down, I believe, to about 5.3 million. They're gonna pay about 35 or 40% of it, so,
Of the roof,
Of the
of the
roof.
roof,
yeah, but not the siding.
not the siding.
That was one of the reasons we wanted to keep the two projects separate, to not confuse people.
Okay, so the Board of Selectmen just, it's printed in here, and you can verify if they voted this last night or not, but it looks like they were 4 yeas and 1 nay.
To
What
place,
Is that right?
to place, yes.
Yeah, to place it, yeah.
But not to approve it yet. They haven't voted up or down on the article itself
Well, they approved.
last night.
The way they didn't?
I don't know.
No, they
You
did
said
not,
to place.
they
not-
just placed
not
it,
to-
they didn't vote to.
Well, it says here, the Select Board voted to accept and adopt 4-1.
Oh,
That's what it says here. I'm going by the warrant that was given to me this afternoon, so.
That I would check, because I checked with someone on that. I checked with Megan Eldridge
Yeah,
today, because I had the 4-1 in the select board call, and she says, no, it was 4-1 to place. So that is worth checking on. I don't think they voted.
Well, we can either vote tonight or vote next Tuesday, whatever you know. If you need to find out more information that would help.
Yeah, I think in terms of the project itself, there's reams of information which, I could share with you in terms of all the construction costs. The big question is, will Chatham, I think, the big question is whether Chatham will share the cost of it. They're looking for 50%. And there is a meeting scheduled for,
Who's looking for 50%?
We're looking for 50%.
we're looking,
What you're saying is, despite what this says, there's a negotiation or a meeting about to happen that's gonna try and get it to 50%.
I think it's April 6th. The
April
chairman of the board and one other board member is meeting 2 Chatham board members. But the discussion, I think you could fairly say, and Chuck, you could, Charles, you could add on. That's just the beginning of the discussion.
Tuesday, April 8th, from 2
Yeah.
to 4 in the Griffin Room.
You know, despite the vote on this, in percentage, breakdown or sharing of it, that can always change as we get to town meeting.
Oh, it certainly can. I mean, the best outcome would be that Chatham would say, yeah, we'll go 50%. They have to get it approved at their town meeting too.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
my own personal feeling is, Charles, is, I don't know, and maybe you have a better feel on Harwich. I don't know if we'll get approved. And my thought was, because the windows won't be ready until November, to come in November, December, just try to do both projects at one time. And they're gonna try and do community outreach, but if it doesn't pass, you have enough time to really gin up support in both towns to get it passed for next year, so. We'll see what happens.
I mean, is anybody arguing the work doesn't need to be done?
The work does need to be done. I was of the opinion at first that it just needed the siding and the Tyvek, but the way it was originally installed is they cut off the flashing before it got to the windows.
Yeah, no, I understand.
And the wire, so they have 40 to 50% of the sheathing that needs to be replaced. So the longer it goes, the worse the conditions get. So it needs to be done. I asked the facilities manager, can you get by another year? And he seems to say yes. The mold problem doesn't seem to be an issue right now. They're doing a lot of testing and nothing has shown up. So.
Well, one thing's for sure, assuming that if this did pass both towns and go to, pass the ballot box, they're only gonna borrow the money when they need it.
Right.
So it's not necessarily just because you voted in on May, whatever, that by June 1st, actually you'd have to wait till July 1st. But anyhow, July 1st of next year is not gonna suddenly do a borrowing for, $10 million and let the money sit there. They're gonna phase the borrowing in as they need to structure the project. And I think they can't even think about ordering windows until they have the money to back it up.
Yeah.
So who's
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
pay the bill, right? So,
Yeah, they have a schedule here. It's the, it won't even start till the earliest in October, and, the windows are, they're in the late fall. I mean, the construction could go all the way, starting in October, November, right through until July, so.
we're gonna get it done in 1 year.
Yeah, oh, yeah, they
Okay.
they have it, yeah, all scheduled out here.
All right. So the question is, Dana, go ahead.
I'm just wondering if we want to, we really at this point have 2 choices, and that's to make a no recommendation pending further information, or to accept and adopt it. That's the only places we have right now. I personally am fine with either one. At least we'd have an official vote in one way or another.
Okay.
I would prefer, pending further information, not accept and adopt. We're giving up leverage if we vote to accept and adopt, not that we're the voters, but.
You are giving up leverage, I
What's the
think.
leverage?
The leverage in the negotiation of sharing the costs more favorably than 76-24.
I guess I don't see how that's leverage.
Okay, so, all right, but let me clarify, I think
Okay.
maybe your question. When you say no recommendation pending further information,
That's
that-
the information.
no, but is
The
that,
sharing.
no, but is that tonight's vote or is that next Tuesday's vote?
That would be next Tuesday's vote for me as well.
In other words, you're not looking for something between now and next
No, no, no,
Tuesday that's gonna
no,
change your
no.
mind.
No, because the negotiations aren't occurring between now and next Tuesday.
Yeah,
so.
okay, well, I'm just trying to understand your
Yeah.
position, that's all.
The other
Well,
thing-
me too in that sense, because I'm not sure that the if there's an actual negotiation, I'm not sure it's going to be finished by the time by any time soon, certainly, and not necessarily by May 5th.
Mhm.
So
Right.
essentially, we're going with, that would go, basically say we're not voting on it.
See, in my mind, it's just me talking, and we don't have a motion on the table yet. But in my humble opinion, my preference is accept and adopt. It says at least this project gets on a ballot. Gets on a ballot this year. People can vote it. If it gets negotiated between now and then, the numbers get changed either at town meeting or later on, or there's some agreement that says, okay, we're gonna figure this out by July. I don't know. The project, in my mind, needs to get done. So my preference is to move it forward, but that's just me. So,
You know, if I may speak, I do kind of agree with Scott, is that the leverage, when I go to the building committee meeting and there's a hardcore Chatham contingent that, will not bend, but this is the major town building, and I think a little bit of pressure would be helpful to try and get their approval. They're gonna be the tough ones to get approval on. So I would kind of agree with Scott, no recommendation pending further information. See how the selectmen vote next week, but we can always change our votes, and I do agree with you, the ultimate test, Judge, is the voters, so.
This is just especially our vote, is just a gentle signal to the voters.
Yes.
The select board is a stronger signal, but they're both just signals, not votes.
You could equally take the position it's a negative leverage, that by the finance committee of the town not voting to support it, that in fact the Chatham folks could get even more dug in about, let's not do it
Mhm.
now, or something. Or certainly on their sharing of it.
Mhm.
That, I mean, it's because a no recommendation from us is definitely a lack of support,
Mhm.
would show a lack of support for essentially doing the project.
Well,
Okay,
it's
so before we
literally
got to-
pending further information, and the further information is the negotiation. That's
Well,
what-
before we get too far into it, we'll keep discussing, but is there a positive motion?
Yes, positive motion. I'll move accept and adopt the article as written.
There a second? No second?
Second for discussion purposes.
Okay, so the motion is to accept and adopt. And I'll remind you that the project is the siding and window replacement at the middle school. It is a debt exclusion, so just so you know. All right, let's have some discussion, see where it takes us.
Just one other element
Go ahead,
is,
Scott, go ahead.
sorry,
Yeah, go ahead. No,
Yeah.
just,
in the construction documents in last night's packet, there are some alternates that total $2.7 million. I don't know how to interpret them. Hardy Shingle, Hardy Artisan Shiplap, and Certainteed Cedar Impressions. $2.7 million total. Potential reductions in the cost.
I
Know
think,
anything about that?
first of all, they're gonna do some storyboards in both Harwich and Chatham. I think the cost is based upon the highest priced siding.
Right.
And then you have some different siding that will be deducts.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're seeing as a cost is the high end. It could come down from that. And they are going to have storyboards for both in Chatham and in Harwich to get the best feedback on what best to
and
use.
these are estimates only, right? Nobody's quoted this yet, have they?
No, but they do have They have an architect and a
Yeah,
project manager.
yeah, no, I get
yeah.
that, but,
They haven't gone out for bid yet, no.
Yeah.
No, that hasn't happened yet.
So essentially, that kind of thing is, at least for most of the projects like this, what they end up calling value engineering.
Right.
That they're open to value engineering the project.
And whether these are, the higher quality siding would increase the life expectancy, or whether it's an aesthetic question.
it's a
Yeah,
trade-off,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a trade-off,
Yeah.
yeah. All right, any further discussion? Dana?
Yeah, I'll just say a couple things. First off, if we had gone with the no recommendation pending further information, the language is very clear in that. And our statement would be, we just didn't have enough information to vote on it. Whether we voted next week or whether we voted it, made our recommendation at town meeting, the language that we would have in the warrant says we weren't ready to make a vote. Doesn't mean we disagree with it or agree with it, it just means we weren't ready to make a vote. So that part doesn't make a difference to me. To me, this question is just an authorization. It's an authorization of approving debt, and our share is gonna be $6 million. Now, whether it's negotiated down to 4.5 or whether it goes up to 7 in the meantime, really isn't gonna make any difference. We're just authorizing a number right now. By the time they get around to it next year, it might be even a higher number, who knows? But,
Well, it's
I'm
giving
comfortable.
the project a chance to get before town meeting, number one, and have that vote, and then get it out on a ballot to have that vote.
Yeah,
Right.
if we had the power of the select board and could just vote to put it on the warrant, I'd agree with that, but
Yeah,
they
we
have
don't.
that authority.
Yep.
We have to either agree with it or not agree with it.
Right.
And I think at this point, financially, we would look more unresponsive if we didn't vote to support it. The authorization.
So you're speaking in favor of accepting it, Doug?
Yep.
Okay, I'm just trying to be
As
clear.
bad as that sounds.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to make it clear. Dan, do you have an opinion on this? or-
The only question that I have in my mind is that when the merger took place, was there an evaluation clause in that whatever document executed that merger to evaluate the efficiency, the effectiveness of the merger at some point in time?
How do you evaluate the effectiveness of the merger? I mean, I'm just being facetious, I don't know.
Well, I'm hearing a lot of issues with the formula.
Well, I think it might be, is it fair or not? Still. And does the fairness, which is the cost sharing basically, does that evolve over time based on stuff going on?
Well, if we had the opportunity to study the matters, I think we could come up with some criteria as to what would be evaluated.
Okay, but it's not our position at the moment, or our responsibility, to go negotiate or renegotiate.
Oh, no, I'm just raising the
contract.
question, was there an
I
evaluation
don't know.
provision?
I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only thing I can tell you
It
is
seems
we
kind
have a
of odd that
school,
you would enter a venture like that.
we have a regional school building that needs some attention, right? I think everybody agrees it needs attention. The question is, who's paying what? I mean, that's really what it comes down to. And that, although it's identified in here, it's either gonna stay like this or get negotiated down, I assume. That's,
I think the issue is much broader than that.
well, okay, but we're not gonna solve that with
Oh,
this.
no.
Yeah.
I asked the question, was there an evaluation
Yeah.
provision in the merger, whatever document? And if there wasn't, then you've answered my question.
I don't know. Yeah.
There is wording in the regional agreement that calls for at least every 5 years, the document can be reviewed. It's very general, but it does, and I don't know how well that's been followed over time, because I wasn't here when the region was formed. So
What was the year it was formed? I don't remember.
I think it was
1996.
96?
Well,
2012.
2012?
That sounds more like.
2012
yeah,
was the
that's
first
when the region
year.
was formed.
So did they reevaluate it 2017 and then 2022? I don't know the answer, I'm being facetious. So.
Certainly, there was an evaluation a couple of years ago when they did the amendment, changing the wording for each town to assume the full cost of its elementary school. Because that you could.
And there was a 5-year revision too that kind of took out all the language of the original document that held all the language of how to begin the thing. And once we had already begun it, they took all that language out. So there was a 5-year and there was a 10-year, to
Okay.
the best of my knowledge.
All right, so I'm just going to focus your attention on, we have a motion to accept and adopt, this is Article 9, has to do with the middle school renovation. Any further discussion?
Just one thing,
Go ahead.
just informational purposes, the select board in Chatham voted in favor of the 5051. From last night's discussion at the select board, there was a lot of angst about debt, you know, as it related to the Great Sand Pond thing, but debt is getting to be an issue, so, you know, when they vote on this next week, I would, you know, I think it would be a very close vote, because people are concerned about debt, so,
Who's the selectmen?
yes.
They voted accept and adopt. I'm telling you what's in the warrant right now.
Yeah, well, that,
I'm just telling you.
yeah, well, I heard, that's, from Megan, I heard that they just,
Okay, well, I mean, that's a good point of clarification, but,
yeah.
but as you say, the problem's not going away and it needs to be done, right?
It does need to be done, whether this year or next year, but it has to be done.
Yeah. Okay, any further discussion? Dana?
Yeah, one quick comment on the debt question. This thing snuck up on all of us, price-wise. It was a $2 million project that we supported. Now it's a $11 million project that's gonna add to our debt. But prior to this year, there was no question about what kind of debt problems we're gonna have in the next 20 years because of our sewer systems. And people will have to eventually either support it all or start saying no to it.
Yep.
And that's when the public will make its great statement.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay,
I would just, one comment.
Go ahead.
For some future meeting, not right now, that we talk about possibility of having an independent review of the merger in terms of its efficiency, effectiveness, issues, problems, that kind of thing.
Okay, my suggestion is, maybe you can get from this gentleman the documents associated with it, you probably have them, or dig them out, and go through them and see what's addressed there. You know, see what's addressed there.
As to whether there's a provision there that we can, oh, sure, yeah, I'd be glad to.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none. Again, the motion is to accept and adopt. We'll do a vote. Not all of them. We're going to do one at a time. Dan?
Aye.
Mark?
Nay.
Bob?
Aye.
Scott?
Nay.
Dana?
I
Chair is an aye. 4-0, it passes.
4-2.
4-2.
4-2, I'm sorry. Thank you, I can't keep. Just making a note so we get this right. Okay. I have no appetite this evening for the Monomoy school budget unless somebody else does. We're gonna have to take it up next week.
They're still working on it, they're still.
I know, I
finishing.
wanna see, I wanna see what.
Can you have any discussion without a motion?
Can you what?
Can you have any discussion without a motion?
What would you like to talk about?
I just wanted to say, in the car over here today, I was thinking about enhancement of services in the town budget and how there's nothing in the numbers now. And the stance was there wouldn't be any unless there were self-funding in some way. But in the Monomoy budget, there's almost $1 million of enhancement of services. And I think that's an inconsistency that I would support. That's, I want to get that off my chest.
Not the same budget message that the selectmen gave the town administrator versus whatever the school committee gave to the
Right.
superintendent,
Yep,
right?
yep.
And quite frankly, until their budgets aren't fully approved or don't go the full way, they're not gonna hear that story. I mean, I'm just,
Yeah,
my opinion.
right.
There was healthy, I'll call it healthy discussion last night at the meeting, at the select board meeting,
Yeah.
for quite some time on the topic.
Mhm.
With the final point of view being to quite directly send the representatives back to the drawing board, so to speak. So it's, we really don't know what the budget is going to be until they come back.
Maybe something will happen between now and then, or
Right.
even after, after the warrant's done. Okay, so moving on, so we did the middle school project, the accept and adopt, right? We're still holding, or no recommendation pending further information about the town operating budget and Monomoy. Just going down your list, Dana. Next one I have is, on your list, is number 36, transfer the housing fund.
Question?
Yep.
I have some comments that relate to last night. I don't know how you want to take them up.
What I want to take up first are the ones that we had
Okay,
issues with
Yep.
last week. And
okay.
so we learn anything about transferring the funds?
Well, the question was the open question was where the money was coming from. It's 25% of the rent, housing rental revenue goes into this fund,
You mean the room tax?
room tax,
Okay.
period. That's its only source.
Huh.
And the current balance is a little over $2 million.
And do we know that that 25% share is mandated by some past motion bylaw?
Uh,
'Cause my question was,
I know
could the money be used for anything else, or does it have to be used for
No, it was
affordable housing?
affordable housing.
Yeah.
It was.
I think it's
The
designated.
share was and I'm not sure, and I can't tell you whether or not there was a town meeting spoke up, who came up with it, but it was 25% for a housing fund, 50% goes into the general fund, and 25% for wastewater fund.
Where is that in the warrant? Dana, you have it as 36, but did you find it in the warrant?
It's number 44,
44?
transfer from special purpose stabilization fund housing. Number 60, no recommendation.
Yeah, because we didn't know the source of the money.
I thought, Bob, maybe, have you heard that Larry Valentine withdrew that? Have you heard anything about that? Because he was the proponent for it.
Well, I'm not sure. I've seen stuff that at least that raised the question, but I know Larry was the person I talked to get this answer about where the funding came from. He didn't mention anything when we talked on the phone.
Was this recently?
Yes, within the last couple of days.
So it's still an existing?
Well, I don't know that.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
question to him was where the fund gets its revenue. That was the question, not anything else. But he did not bring up in that conversation.
Okay, so
Having the.
there's not really a number on it here in the warrants,
Right.
There's a
Is this
lot
the-
of ones that don't
Huh?
have numbers, yeah.
but they're playing with it. The article is transfer from the Special Purpose Stabilization Fund Affordable Housing to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund. The amount is $1,500,000. And you just told us this 25% of the meals tax goes into that, right? I mean, the rental tax, right?
Rooms.
Room
I guess
tax,
they
I'm
call it
sorry.
Room tax, I guess is what we officially
Yeah,
call it.
okay. That funds it, okay?
Yep.
It's in here, the selectmen voted 3-2 to accept and adopt.
Huh.
I'm just telling you that. Did it come up last night?
No.
I think they
At
voted
least
it
not while I
before.
was there. And I
I think
think
they,
we didn't leave until after they were talking about warrant, so I don't think it came up.
Okay, but they have voted, I mean, it's in the warrant that they voted 3-2 to accept and adopt. And we are sitting at no recommendation pending further information 6-0, based on we were waiting to hear where the money came from.
That
So,
was to my knowledge, that was the only question preventing
okay,
us.
so
from-
is there a motion to reconsider this?
I'll make a motion to reconsider.
I will second.
Okay, moved and seconded to reconsider the article I just read, doesn't have a number, but it has to do with transfer of funds to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund. The amount is $1.5 million. Any discussion on reconsideration? All right, we'll put that to a vote. Dan?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Bob?
Aye.
Aye.
Dana?
Aye.
All right, chair is an aye, okay. Now could I have a motion, positive motion,
So, yes, I will move to
accept and adopt?
Second.
Okay, move to accept and adopt. And again, it's to transfer this funds to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund. Any discussion on that? Hearing, yeah, go ahead.
I
Go
would,
ahead.
I'm gonna vote yes, because it seems like it's an established practice. I would love to learn more about whether there's any flexibility in that 25% figure, just to be prepared with tools for budget contingencies in the future if things get tough, to increase the amount going to the general fund if we find a drastic need, and what the source of that 25-50-25 split is. But
Okay.
just something I'd be interested to know, just the rules of the road for that
That's
room
fine.
tax distribution.
I would think it's going to get us into a discussion that's very similar to CPC, that says it's 3% surcharge on your taxes, and that's where it's going.
And it goes to those three buckets in CPC.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
That's what I'm guessing, but,
right.
yeah. When we get a new finance director, it'd be a wonderful thing. to
First,
have
that person has to learn all this
I know.
stuff. and
Well,
then-
we'll
and
get
then
that person in
educate
there to
us.
help us, right? Yeah. Okay, any further discussion? The motion is to accept and
Do we have
adopt.
to specify an amount?
What's that?
Do we have to specify an amount?
No, the amount's in here. Amount's in the warrant. It's in the article.
Yeah, I understand that, but in
No.
terms of the motion, we
No.
don't have to specify an amount?
No. No. Okay. Any further discussion? Let's put it to a vote. Dan?
Aye.
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Dana?
Aye.
Chair is an aye, 6-0, thank you. So you got that one marked up, right? Okay, the next one I have a hold on is, what's the statute on seasonal community design? Where is that one? Did that
Yeah.
stay in the warrant?
I think they pulled that.
I don't know, let's just make sure.
Yeah, we talked about that last, but I don't know if anybody confirmed that it's been pulled.
Well, I'm looking at the warrant.
Confirmed that-
Oh, accepting the Seasonal Communities Act is what that, I think
This
is
is
what the one you're
requirement
talking
from the
about.
state.
Accepting the Mass General Law statute on seasonal communities.
Where is it?
Let's see, I don't have the number, so. Let's
We
see.
gotta get this numbering system figured
I
out.
know,
It's awful.
exactly.
I can't even find the word seasonal associated with an article in the
Yeah, I
packet.
know.
Just doing a word search.
It was E11 before, E11.
I think it's, and it may be gone. It may not, it may have been.
I think it
pulled.
went the way of the adopt a local comprehensive plan,
Yeah, I think,
which I believe went away.
I think that's right.
That article's not in the packet, last night's packet. I can tell you that much.
The comprehensive plan?
No, the seasonal communities.
Okay, how about the comprehensive plan?
Fall.
Also
Well, yeah.
pulled. yes.
Okay, so those two are still, they're not in there, so they don't apply, right?
Right.
Aye.
All right, the revolving fund, it says on your list, fund, Dana, not fund. Annual recommendation, authorization rather, we're still at no recommendation pending further information. I would stay there until next Tuesday and we know something more. Okay?
Yep.
For instance, if we find out we can't touch that without, some big mess, then we'll just, we'll revisit if we can. All right, how about amend bylaw chapter 140?
They voted 5-0 to indefinitely postpone.
What's the number, do you know?
56.
What's the article?
52.
I have it in my list.
No, not the
It's
number, what's the article? What's it?
amend zoning bylaws, ADU.
That's the ADU bylaw, okay.
Well, if the policymakers aren't gonna support it,
Right.
I think the planning department is still in the process of vetting it, so it's not ready for, it's not ready right now, so that's why they definitely postponed.
so we're either good with the motion that we have to make no recommendation right up until town meeting, or we can change to support them.
Right now, we're at hold, right?
Yeah, no vote yet.
We had no vote, so first I'll ask if there's a positive motion on this. Hearing none. Dana, you want to make a no recommendation?
I'll make a motion to definitely postpone.
Okay, I'm sorry, yeah.
That's what select board did, right?
Correct. 5-0.
Okay, the motion for the article is called amend bylaws chapter 140, right? Is indefinitely postponed. Any discussion?
Yeah, back in the day, Peter, when you and I were on that board, if we had an article like this, we'd have just pulled it.
Yeah, I know,
So
but
we wouldn't even go through it. So it's a lot of extra work for everybody involved that they don't pull it.
got it. All right, let's put it to a vote.
Aye.
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 Dana,
Aye.
chair is an aye, 6-0, definitely postpone. Then I had amend zoning accessory apartment. I had a hold on that.
Isn't that almost the same thing with the ADU, accessory dwelling unit?
I think that is.
One was G4 and one was G something else.
But I don't even find it.
One was G3 and one was G4.
Yeah,
This one is the accessory apartment amendment zoning is G4.
We should tell the charter commission they have to put something in the charter that you gotta from day one number these damn things.
Well, if you think back to when they closed the warrant, we should have had this.
No, that was a big discussion today, so
so I
anyhow.
had no vote as of when these were printed. Did they vote? And they didn't vote on this last night, I'm quite sure.
What do you think you have, Mark?
What I have is last night this is number 56, amend zoning bylaws, ADU, 4-1 to place, 5-0 to indefinitely postpone.
Oh, okay, so they did take it up. I didn't catch that.
Move to indefinitely postpone.
Second.
Okay, it's moved to indefinitely postpone. And the article is amend zoning accessory apartment. Any discussion?
I do suspect, although I don't know because I didn't hear any of the discussion on it in front of the board, but I suspect that this is also is affected by, both of these articles, by the Seasonal Communities Act issue. Because the voting acceptance of the Seasonal Communities Act requires certain things to be done
Yep, not surprising.
that have to do with these topics, including zoning.
Okay. All right. Any further discussion? The motion is to definitely postpone. Hearing none, we'll put it to a vote. Dan?
Aye.
Aye.
Mark? Bob?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Dana?
Aye.
Chair is an aye, 6-0. All right, now, Bob, let's go back to your list that you had from last night or whatever.
Okay. First, I'll start at the bottom, and this is just a Dana comment, I think. that we still don't seem on Dana's list to be able to get the vote on the demolition delay corrected.
What number is that for?
That is number 51 on Dana's list.
You know what it is on the warrant?
It is G7. Right.
Let's see.
We did not vote to accept and adopt that.
No, we did not.
Yeah,
We voted it.
7-0 to indefinitely postpone.
Right.
That's what I have too.
You got that, Dana?
Yep, I'm fixing it right now.
Okay, thank you. Next.
Okay, let me go back to the top then. The select board voted to indefinitely postpone funding the Charter Commission article.
What was the vote?
Do you have the vote?
Do you know what number it was? I do have it, just so I can
Yeah,
find it.
it's near the top, so let's see.
That's all right, we voted to accept and adopt.
Yeah,
Right,
funds
I did-
for anticipated expenses, they voted to indefinitely postpone 4-1. We voted 8-0 to accept and adopt.
It's fine.
So I just want to verbally make that comment, just so that people were aware that the select board had done that.
Yep, and we'll have to make sure in our comments, Mark and Dana, that we address that.
Okay. We have already voted accept and adopt on the capital plan. At some point in time, there will be a brand-new capital plan that has added at least the big Great Sands Lake wastewater construction project to the capital plan. I think there is also another addition to the capital plan that was indicated, coming from the schools, I think, actually, but anyway, that's a big one that apparently is going to end up on a final capital plan. So whatever we voted on is not the capital plan that's going to be presented.
We voted on the capital plan as presented to us at the time,
Correct. So,
which is fine. And now, are you aware that the capital outlay committee is doing something to change the capital plan?
I don't know, quite honestly, I don't know how to answer that. I know we did have discussions about Great Sand Lake. I don't know.
And we voted on it.
We voted on it.
On the project?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know beyond that if they're gonna change the plan or not, so.
So we can't vote on something we don't have.
Yeah, we don't have any paper on it, so.
Yeah.
Nor did we have any at the capital outlay committee, so.
Which is where it should start, but.
the other related to, actually, still related then to the Great Sands Lake construction project, there was lots of discussion, again, last night, both pro and con about whether or not the project was sufficiently defined and vetted in terms of the appropriate, how close 32 million was to a real number. I'm not even sure that they finally took a vote last night on it. So again, just for information, if anybody, if that affects anybody else's vote on this.
Did they think it was gonna be greater?
They thought that it was not, that in fact, what was presented to them, what they had for information was not sufficiently developed at a level of detail to feel comfortable being able to take this to the, as the number for the project, or whether in fact even they should be changing. They basically, I think, had probably a majority opinion of towards, I'm not sure there was a vote on it, towards leaving the current project, wastewater project schedule in, as it stands, and not start deviating.
So leaving that at the end in the year 2040 something as phase 9.
Well, wherever it is now, I don't know where it is now, but.
Yeah, that's where it is, at the very
Eight
end.
Anyway,
or
so-
9, I forget.
Dana, I know you had your hand up.
Oh, sorry, Dana.
That's all right. I would, as we have already voted on the document that we had, I would presume that sometime between now and town meeting, if there is a big change like that and we get a second document, we could change our vote and support or not support that.
Exactly.
And then then explain it when the article comes up. Otherwise, we could change it now to no recommendation and just wait, but I think we're fine right where we are.
Yeah, no, I agree with them.
Except for the fact that in the packet, our vote of 7-0 is associated with the petition article, not the town's article. So that's an error that we,
No, I'm talking about the vote on the town's article, our vote on the town's article.
yeah. But in the packet at least, it says Finance Committee recommends 7-0 yes on the petitioned article. And we did not,
No, we voted indefinite postponement.
We did, and.
oh, I'm sorry, it does say indefinitely postponed.
Right. And-
Yeah.
And then we voted 5-2 accept on
Right.
the town's article.
Which,
Yeah.
which is not reflected in the packet. It should have been, but it's not.
You know,
It says 0-0. That's the error, yeah.
Natasha, who's handling all this, Joe was out on Monday, she told me she has addressed that.
Okay,
So I will check it again,
okay,
you know,
yeah.
but.
Okay, next.
Anything else? I think that's it
Okay.
Just
for me.
a confirmation on the petition article from Tom Birch, that's how it's done.
The bottles?
Yeah,
Yep.
I had our vote as 6-2 indefinitely postponed. Just wanted to confirm that.
Yep.
That's what I have too.
That means this board rejected, right? And I think Dana and I were and we opposed that.
Yeah, I have that updated on my sheet now.
Yeah, that's how the trouble is it's like you're using a negative to get a positive. It's
Double
like-
negative, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, you just gotta be
I'll need
careful.
several explanations to really understand.
You gotta be careful. All right.
And I've always, over the years, wished that they'd simply go to yes or no.
Well, no.
And
Be
have
careful.
no be no.
No, but be careful because Natasha is using that in her rack up about support, no support.
Right,
And if you got something that's indefinitely postponed for something that is negative, it shows up the other way. I mean, it's very confusing.
We've got that
The
notation somewhere
language,
in here
the
that
language of town meeting, accept and adopt, indefinite postponement, no recommendation pending further information, is historic, and that's what people are used to.
Yeah.
So, all right, Dana, do you have anything on your list that you need to talk about?
I'm just gonna talk about one thing real quick. I know I'm ready, willing, and able to do as many reasons to add to the list, just so that we have a nice comprehensive list of reasons for our votes. I do know that in a lot of finance committees across the state, their reason, they just vote recommended or not recommended. And if they want to talk about it on town meeting, they talk about it. It's a lot easier and simpler way to do it. I've always supported the idea of having the reasons, but I've also been the ones that have written them for the last 5 years or so. Mark has made great strides this year on learning the job, and I think that he's going to continue to make that progress and stuff. Some of us old timers will be gone in some year. I'm still planning to be around next year, but you just never know what happens after that. I just want to know on the idea of recommend, not recommend, how does the rest of the committee feel? My only question.
That's Scott.
Does the select board include those sort of explanations in their decisions?
No, unless it's they do give explanations on things like whether it's a request from the state or something. They use, if they have pertinent information, they do include it in an explanation.
In the article, but not under the vote.
Right.
We're talking about explaining our vote, right?
What we're talking
Yeah.
about is in the warrant,
Yeah.
where it lists the roll call votes, okay? So, Finance Committee recommendation, you see it in there. We could write an explanation, right? It will record all our votes and which of us voted which way, if there's a split vote or something, so people get to yell at you if, you know, they don't like what you did. Okay.
The charter does say that the finance committee will give an explanation, a written explanation on their
I know.
positions.
I think we're so far into it this year, Dana, we just keep going with it.
Oh, yeah. I'm just
Yeah.
throwing it out there for
Yeah,
future
no, I know. We
young
can,
people to consider is whether you want to do what most towns do and just
Well,
make it easy on yourself.
yeah, and quite frankly, after town meeting, we'll have a little debrief to see what we learned and how we can do it better, right?
Yep,
All right,
that's all I had.
okay, anybody else have anything they need to do?
Well, just to comment on that.
Yep,
Excuse me. I think transparency-wise, I think it's good to provide an explanation. But if the explanation raises more questions than it answers, then maybe it should go to town meeting, and if the question is raised, have somebody respond to.
well, obviously, at town meeting, anybody raises questions, somebody either on our side or their side is gonna respond to it, and maybe multiple people, depending on what's what. So, and just remember, we would make, we should be the ones making the motions at town meeting, so. Okay. All right, so I have on my list that we need to get straightened out next Tuesday is the town operating budget, which will include or not include or whatever a discussion of the 204 budget stuff. The Monomoy Regional School budget, and that's all I have on my list. Oh, the revolving fund authorization.
Right, yeah.
So those three, unless something else comes up, are the ones I have on my list. Anybody else have anything right off the bat, or they can see, or? And by the way, probably something may or may not come up on Chamber of Commerce, I don't know, you know, what the selectmen may or
It's
may
not
not
in the
do.
warrant.
Yeah, no, I know that, but I don't know if they're gonna talk about it, or do something on Monday, or not do it, or what, I don't know.
I did get a text from a informed citizen who said that they are having internal problems and are not gonna submit one this year.
So you're saying the Chamber hasn't submitted it?
Right.
Okay.
I'm not sure whether you were on or not, Dana, when I comment on the fact that there's the free cash, capital funded from free cash is gonna be increased, that I know of, by 700,000 for the road maintenance. So for your spreadsheet, whatever, that
Wasn't in the article, they're gonna add it.
Okay,
it's on the capital plan, but not in the article.
To be funded out of free cash. Right?
I still show a balance of 1.4 million, so.
Okay.
Topic was raised, again, also last night, that as to whether, in fact, at the end, for the select board to consider changing funding of something that was identified as a borrowing to use of the rest of the free cash. So we'll see if that comes up or not.
What's the dollar number, do you know? Yeah.
What Pete Pekarsky threw out there was vehicles, like
Like an
fire
ambulance or
vehicles.
something? Like an ambulance or
Like
something?
an ambulance or
2.4
something.
million for the fire department, yeah.
In total, right, but it's
Part of that.
multiple
Yeah.
vehicles, right?
To
so-
do an ambulance is what, 600?
So they were going to take that up at some point,
Yeah, okay. Then there's always the stabilization fund, you know?
the stabilization fund.
Okay.
I did have one question,
Go
maybe
ahead.
the more learned members could answer
There are no more learning members than you, so.
than I. I noticed that the operating budget is funded already with $500,000 of free cash. And I think it's the contribution to the pension accrual fund. I just wondered why we do that when the operating budget currently shows a surplus of more than $500,000. But it won't anymore if they put a 4% cost of living in, so maybe it's a moot question.
You know, I had One of my discussions last Friday, having to do with the operating budget, was my dismay, I guess I'll just describe it that, at any fall through on the effort that you and your comrades were making supposedly to go through budget versus actual
Oh,
from
yeah,
last
yeah,
year and
yeah.
make recommendations on
Yep.
where things can
Yep.
be skinnied up.
Yep,
I think you had one or two, maybe one meeting, two meetings or something, that kind of went by the wayside, right?
yep. Well,
So-
it was dictated to go by the wayside.
Yeah, well,
Yep.
so that's the frustrating part.
Is there any progress on the finance director search that anybody knows about?
I heard there were 5 candidates. I don't know.
That's good
I
news.
just hear rumors, you know.
Yeah.
So,
That's good.
and one of them was you. No.
Involuntary candidate.
There you go, yeah. All right, anything else? So we will post for next Tuesday, same time, 6 o'clock. Let me just ask, are you guys going to the selectmen's meeting next Monday? Okay, whatever, but at least we'll have one, so you can give us some
Yeah,
feedback.
I'll get the figures and, see, Natasha should have some information for us, but she doesn't, I should have the figures.
Okay, and we will, Dana, whatever you and Mark put together by next week for recommendations, we should review that next week, circulate it like
Yep.
Monday or something.
Yep.
And then we can go through those, or, we need to make any kind of adjustments or anything, we'll do that, all right? All right, any other business? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Moving to second, it's non-debatable. Let's put it to a vote.
Aye.
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 Dana, you want to stay?
Aye.
You can stay there if you want. Yeah, all right, Chair wants to go home, 6-0, thank you very much. All right.